Hi there, John. Well, congratulations on the film.
Hi, James.
Terrifying and also a lot of fun.
Well, then, job done.
um, no, I think there are so many queer fans of horror movies out there, but unfortunately, so often we've had to just like make do with queer subtext. And I just wondered why you wanted to center and celebrate LGBTQ plus characters
Well,
with they
I mean,
slash them.
exactly because of that. When I was growing up, queer characters were, for the most part, non-existent, which sort of leaves an aching void in your life when you're trying to connect with a story. Or if they did exist, they were victims, they were heroes, or victims or jokes, and that was a horrific thing, because I love horror movies. I kept wanting a queer character to not be a metaphor. I wanted them to be a hero. So that's what I wrote. I tried to write a movie that is the movie I wish I'd seen when I was 13.
Which was the horror movie that had the sort of biggest impact on you, would you say, maybe growing up or when you started to get involved in film?
It's hard to say because I'm such a deep fan of horror. Certainly, the early movies like The Dead of Night, the Ealing movie, the anthology movie, I just always was obsessive about. The first three Friday the 13th movies I thought were sort of revolutionary and provocative in a cool way. The Haunting, the Robert Wise Haunting, I thought was just a magnificently unsettling movie. Oh, so many. Don't get me started.
And talking about unsettling, well, the setting of the conversion therapy camp is very unsettling just in itself.
Mm.
And when I first heard there was going to be a horror movie set there, I thought, well, isn't conversion therapy kind of horrifying enough without being made into a horror movie? But of course, having seen the film, I realized, it's an empowering and, celebratory and defiant film. But how did you come up with the setting and what was your sort of approach to it?
It was playing into the tropes of the slasher movie. It's a camp in the middle of the woods where you're very isolated and very vulnerable. There's a masked killer that's stalking. But because this is a twist on the slasher movie, the killer is killing the bad counselors who deserve to be killed, and the queer kids are the heroes. So it was always looking at the tropes of the slasher movie and then trying to twist them, to slant them to fit sort of that idea.
Yeah. And the LGBTQ plus community is so expansive. And I just wondered how you went about sort of accurately reflecting all of the elements of it that we see in this film, but particularly those who have different experiences to your own.
It was a lot of talking, because I'm a 60-year-old gay man. I'm not non-binary, I'm not trans, so I worked really closely with Scott Turner Schofield and GLAAD just to learn the language, to learn sensitivity, to learn a little bit about it. And then I worked with the actors. I was like, tell me what I don't know. Tell me how you speak. Tell me how you see the world. Tell me what frightens you. Tell me how you respond to things. So it was a very open communication between the actors and myself, and they were mostly responsible for the authenticity of their characters. I sort of took dictation and took notes well, but they brought themselves to it to such a sort of passionate degree that it made my job easy in a way.
And you mentioned Friday the 13th. And of course, you got Kevin Bacon on board pretty early on. So why did you want him to be part of the film and what does he bring to it, would you say?
Well, it's very rare I actually write things with actors in mind, but I started writing the character of Owen Whistler and I kept hearing Kevin's voice and I kept seeing Kevin because he has a genius ability, Kevin does, to go from absolutely charming to absolutely ice cold scary, like instantaneously. And I've always admired that in Kevin, that he has that range. And so I kept writing it. I kept thinking about Kevin. I kept saying it has to be Kevin. And thank goodness he liked the part. And, so we were able to drag him back to the slasher movie one more time to play Owen Whistler.
And as I mentioned at the top, it is suitably terrifying and unnerving at times, but it's also fun, especially the pink sing-along moment, which I really loved. Why did you want that sort of balance of having some levity in there? And maybe tell us a little bit about that fantastic sequence in the
Yeah.
film.
Well, it's the film tries to sort of present the entire gay experience and that includes exuberance, and that includes joy and bonding. And there's a certain point where the character of Jordan is very low, and they're cheered up by the song Effing Perfect, Pink song. And the reason it's that song is because I know how much it would have meant to me when I was 12, to have someone say to me, "You're effing perfect just the way you are." And so to me, it's the most uplifting and in a way the most moving moment in the movie, because it's something I wished for so desperately. And I know there are kids out there who are going to see this movie and it's going to mean the same thing to them.
Well, John Logan, thanks very much and congratulations on They Slash Them.
Great, my pleasure.